You may have played poker, but playing poker in Texas is a different animal. This is the Texas Poker Podcast with Tyler and Clint.
Hello, this is the Texas Poker Podcast. I'm Tyler. This is Clint.
What's up, y'all?
We are back with episode 107.
Episode 107. So, from what I hear, Tyler, we got a listener question that I thought was kind of interesting. But I think before we do anything on this podcast, we need to kind of pay respects to a great legend who has passed away on, I believe, the 14th. It's anybody listening to this podcast is already going to be aware of this, but Doyle Brunson passed away, and I tell you what, great man who did a lot for poker over the years.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's, I can't say it's unexpected. That's nature being right close to 90, but it still is sad, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100%. We all go, and the only thing you can do is live a great life while you're here and make the most of everything, and I think that's something we can say that he did. I will say I always really enjoyed, even when he was older in his 80s and stuff, on high-stakes poker, he was always really fun to watch. His jokes were always really good. And him paving a way, because, he went through all the illegal days of gambling and all that and really paved the way to going through some stuff, so that we don't have to, and we have much better places to play at today.
No, absolutely. Definitely one of the OGs in the high-stakes poker. That's how I got into poker. Or back into poker, was watching those on. I actually would watch them on Twitch. People would illegally stream them on Twitch, and I would watch them till they got shut down. And then you have to switch streams on Twitch. Someone would open up a new account and just stream the high stakes. This is before Poker Go and stuff. They would stream the high stakes episodes, just the whole season, just back to back to back to back, and then it would get shut down. You go to the next they would open up a new one and just keep playing the high stakes poker. Because I tried to buy them, and I couldn't find anywhere to buy them, so that's the only way I could watch them.
Yeah, it was really him being on them really almost made a really great show. So, there's gonna be a lot of people, obviously the entire poker community, paying their respects and everything. And I thought definitely we should as well. So, rest in peace to a great legend of our time. On a more upbeat note, we have a listener question from last week.
Say. I'm assuming he listens if he's messaging us, but so here's our question. Basically, he wants to know our thoughts on the one hand of Omaha in these no limit 1-3 games in Texas. It seems like all the poker houses in Texas have the one hand of Omaha, the reverse button. How do we feel? What are our thoughts on it? You probably start the show with that.
I remember when you told me he sent this question, I thought this was a really good question. And I thought it was a really good question for us because I think we're going to have very different opinions on it.
Yeah, well, I have the right one, but continue.
I will say this. I hate it when they do the two hands of Omaha anywhere. One, I think it's just kind of useless. It's kind of weird. If it's one hand of Omaha, here's the thing. You just got to get used to it and deal with it because almost every place outside of KD 101, that's how they run, right? That's kind of the facts on that. Whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah, we'll say back when I was living right next to Johnny Chan's 88 in the old 52, they also didn't do it, but that's no more. So I think the only room I know of right now is KD 101.
Yeah, it's I guess it's the ones we play. Yeah, maybe that Elite Social. I don't know if because that whole building, for whatever reason, they always didn't do the one reverse button. But who knows? But the vast majority of places they do. I don't mind it. As long as it's just one hand, it's not two. I think it does break up the game and it does kind of break up the monotony that can be no limit hold'em. Now go ahead and give me your thoughts because I know you're not going to agree here.
Yeah, no, I hate it. I hate watching the players make these decisions that last 3 minutes, and they just, I feel like it slows the game to just a grinding halt, and then I almost feel like it breaks the game because then people get stacks in, and sometimes even if it's correct, I don't know. I hate the time it takes. I tried sitting them out. It takes too much time. I feel like I don't know if that's helping your hourly either, sitting out, because that doesn't seem profitable.
Well, I mean, and here's also my theory, and like I say, it's harder to tell, like as far as if you're making money because the variance is so big, but the players are very bad. The same players that are bad at No Limit Hold'em, they're still very bad at PLO. And I was going to tell our listener on this, I've actually have one thing that really helped my PLO game. I tried a bunch of different things. I looked at videos on Crush Live Poker. Did not seem to help that much. And not everybody likes to read, but there is a book called The Omaha, The Big Play Strategy by Jeff Hwang. Hwang for that last name, if you're looking for. And that book has the best, even if you only read the part of the starting hands, it has the best description of starting hands and explanation for them that I've ever seen. And I think if you do nothing but kind of look at those starting hands, one, you're going to kind of realize what hands you should be folding and what you're going to stop getting wrecked in some of these hands that you just should have never been in the first place. And if you are playing only those good hands, at least you do have some pre-flop advantage. You do have some plus EV on there. Now, you also have the other decisions after, but that's just like No Limit Hold'em, that's where it starts.
No, absolutely. But I don't know. I'm always trying to find the game without the Omaha hand or try to talk them out of two hands of Omaha. Because yesterday we were playing two hands of Omaha. Oh, you left. Spoilers for later. And then, what's it called? We were like 5-handed playing two hands of Omaha.
Oh, now that is where I hate it. When it goes two hands of Omaha and it's short, like the table's very short, that really, because I don't like Omaha. I mean, it's okay for a difference here and there, but that is super annoying. Me and you agree on that.
No, absolutely. But, yeah, I mean, I can think of very distinct hands where I've been stacked for just so much money in these bomb pots, in these PLO bomb pots, and in these PLO hands. Where, I mean, you have the nuts. How bad can it be? Right? But, yeah.
Well, also, here's the thing, is like the big thing with PLO is the variance. I mean, and like I say, you can always have this option, but if you get it all in on a hand, for most people out there, I would just say run it twice. And then you do anything to reduce the variance in such a high variance game. Like if you're not in Texas, you might not have that option. Here, all the Texas card houses, you usually do, and people are usually willing. So that is a way to combat the variance. But if you do that to combat the variance and you learn some of the very basics, you're actually, there's still going to be more variance in No Limit Hold'em. But overall, you're still going to be a winning player, and that's really the only thing that matters. Because it takes less work to be a winning player in Omaha here. It's just the variance is so off the charts.
No, 100%. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess the final thought is I hate it, you don't mind it, but still don't like it.
That seems fair. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I mean, me and you are on the same page that I don't like it because it just, everybody takes forever on every hand.
Here's what just kills me is whenever someone's in here tanking forever and then they show me their hand and they have like ace king with just top pair, top kicker, and they're tanking for all their money. I just want to get up and throw the chair against the wall.
Because you know they're going to fold.
I know they're going to fold.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, everyone knows they're no good, and then they're acting like they have this crazy decision to make.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just, God.
Oh, I mean, the tanking in Omaha is god-awful. Yeah, I mean, and that's why, yeah, it drives me crazy as far as that goes. I mean, I think I was counting one time, and I think we got like 8 hands, maybe 9, I forget, but it was an entire hour that we saw 8 or 9 hands. Yeah, I mean, that's why I prefer No Limit. Like I say, I don't mind the one hand if it changes things up here and there, especially when I'm card dead or something like that. But, God, you're right. The tanking's just so horrible in it.
Well, I don't know. Tanking when you have a decision is one thing, but tanking whenever, like, your decision is so obvious, it's like you're just wasting everyone's time for no reason.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, even then, like, I mean, all the tanking all the time. I mean, it seems like there's always a decision to be made, and I get so bored. I mean, when I'm just sitting there, not even watching the hand be played, but just watching someone think for 4 minutes every single hand.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, that about sums up that question right there. I mean, I don't know. Just talking about it makes me mad.
Yeah.
just flashbacks of, I mean, literally earlier this week. And we're not even going to break down the hand. I'll just tell you it real quick. I mean, I have top set on a 10-3 jack board. I have a set of jacks with a flush, not with a flush draw. There's a flush draw on board. I check, guy pots it. I repot it. He ships it with, what did he have? He had a flush draw.
He had a straight and a flush draw. He was open-ended straight draw, the shitty end of the open-ended straight draw, and a 9-high flush draw.
Yeah, and I mean, diamond immediately. I get stacked after, however long of playing to grind my stack back.
So this does go to show, like this goes to show two things very much. Is one, the variance is off the charts in PLO. Because, I mean, you're getting in with top set and you're not even... You're probably at best 50-50. And the other thing is how bad people are. Because, I mean, you think about you had top set for the nuts. You pot it, he repots it all in.
I check, he pots it, I repot it. Then he goes, he 4-bets all in.
Okay. All in. Like, if you have a wrap with a diamond draw that's over 10 high, he's basically drawing dead. So, I mean, that goes to show this, like, it can be, like, I don't suggest anybody play it, like, full-time as their main game, usually. I think it's just, I don't know, I haven't seen enough evidence that it's just that good. But I will say you can get a small edge in the one or two hands. So,
well, I mean, here's my thought about it. If you're going to try to play PLO as your main game, I mean, you just need a way bigger bankroll. I mean, anytime you're getting it in with an edge, right? It's going to eventually work out, right? If you're always getting it in with an edge, or making the correct calls for the price or whatever. But I think the variance is so great in that game that the bankroll compared to Hold'em is just a completely different monster right there.
That's true. And, I mean, like, everything you read and videos will support. I mean, like, you need, I forget if it's like 10 times the amount for PLO than No Limit Hold'em. Sounds right.
I mean, it sounds right. I mean, I don't even watch the videos. I came up with that. So, I mean, I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, that's just what I've, learned over getting stacked over and over and over again in PLO. So.
Oh, 100%.
It was like one of the, one of the floor guys asked me if I wanted to dip my toe in PLO, or I told him no, I don't like PLO. I was like, well, if you want to come dip your toe in, it's a good game on this. I'm like, we can just fight right now if you want, man, right here at the cage. I mean, the fact that I just told you I don't like PLO and you're trying to get me to come back over to play PLO. I just got stacked 3 hours ago in a PLO hand.
I mean,
and I went to the smaller Hold'em game and almost won all my money back.
Oh, wow.
So,
well, someone who started going to kickboxing classes with you, don't fight Tyler. I mean, if he throws that out there, don't do that. just let him play Hold'em.
yeah.
Dude's got a counter for everything. It's so whatchamacallit. So, like, on that note, like, I end up in this one Hold'em game where there are a lot of... I'm not going to spend a lot of time in these hands because they are PLO and some of them are about half.
Let me kick the hands off with the Hold'em one then. Because we just talked about a bunch of PLO. Let me do one hand that I found pretty interesting that at least to break up the PLO talk. I know some people don't like the PLO talk. So I'm on the button with pocket fours. Guy makes it 17. 2 callers, gets back to me. I call. Then we go 4 ways to the flop. The flop is 4 of spades, 3 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds. But then it checks to me. What are you doing here? Because here's my thought. I mean, we need protection versus, specifically diamond, which is, it's definitely something. But, and you're also trying to build a pot here, right?
This is going to be tough. So there's 4 people in the hand, correct? You and 3 others.
Yes.
The pre-flop raiser checks. The 2 field callers check to you.
Yep.
So I think you can bet bigger when the pre-flop raiser is in later position because those callers would be checking naturally the pre-flop raiser. But now that the pre-flop raiser has checked, those 2 people have checked. You're looking at a board where I don't think anybody has just damn near anything here. I'm probably betting very small here. Let's see if there's 4. Looking at, let's say 30, 60. I think I'm just going to bet like maybe 20, 25 maybe.
I did bet 20.
Okay.
I got 2 calls. The turn is the 8 of clubs. Checks to me again. I do the same bet because I'm thinking that doesn't really change that much.
Wait, what
8
is
of clubs. So the board is 3, 4, 10, 8 with 2 diamonds and a spade and a club. So 5, 6 doesn't get there.
I'm definitely sizing up a little bit on this turn. Because now that I actually have 2 people who've shown some interest in the hand, I'm looking to get... So 20, 40, 60 was probably about 70 on the... So 70, 130. I'm probably betting like 90, 80.
Well, I bet 20, and then I immediately get raised.
Well, shit. That might be better then.
I get raised to 60. What do you do here?
See, okay, the board is 3, 4, 8, 10.
And here's the thing. I'm not overly deep. I had just grinded back to about even after taking a few beats before. So I'm probably around 350 350 a total in the hand.
Let me see, and you're in position here.
Yes.
I'm going to do this technique that seems to work out pretty well for me, where I think I'm just going to call, inflate this pot. Because, okay, let's say once I call, it was 70, is about 70 to the flop. It's about 20 on the flop, so that's 60, 130. Once I just call here, this is going to be always a call, and then if he checks to me, jam on the river, almost regardless of what the run out is.
Well, we just are on all sorts of different pages. I fold. No, I wish. I jam all in. He snap calls. He set over set. He had pocket 8s.
Well, I mean, this is just... I mean, it's just a cooler. There's really not much that can be done here. Let's forget that he had pocket 8s because it really ceases to matter in this hand. I do like the call on the... And like I say, it seems to work out well because once you call, this pot is so inflated that for what you have left behind, you're getting called by so much on the river, is kind of my thinking.
For the same thought, though, is also why I like jamming in there. Because let's say, a spade comes right there and the front door flush misses. Is he ever betting as a bluff? In 1-3, which is why I like to get it all in there. Because if he misses his draw, he's never putting $1 in, and I feel like I'm ahead at that point. That's my thought. That's just kind of my thought when I ship it there. Whenever I see draws that I think could call for how little I have behind, that's also for the same reason. Because I'd hate to just have a complete brick, him check, me bet all in, and then he goes, well, I missed, and just fold face up.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem: is your jam looks so super strong. When you bet, you get re-raised, and then you not only raise but raise big. It's just like I think a lot of people can fold. I think people can fold almost like third nuts safely.
Okay, well here, let me give you a little backstory to this exact player.
Okay,
guy goes 4 bets all in for over $800. This guy calls with pocket 7s. They say he's going to have aces. He says, I know, it's fine. And he loses and rebuys. That's the game we're in, so.
Okay. I will say this. I don't mind the jam.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's the game I'm in, so.
Given that information...
Yeah, no, I mean, I was in a great game that night. A great game. I mean, the players were talking about betting, multiple thousands of dollars on sports games and stuff. So they were not to be bluffed.
That is a sign of a great game there.
Not to be bluffed and just wanted the action, so.
In that case, because, like I say, you just getting, the cooler doesn't matter. It depends on, what the decision making. But It really, in all honesty, it seems like both are just fine. Especially given the information, that jam is definitely fine.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, just a phenomenal game that I happened to. Well, actually, and here's the good news. I mean, I did a second bullet. It almost almost had a break even night after getting stacked like that.
That's always a really nice feeling when you can crawl back from like just down so much.
I mean, here's kind of been. I'm not going to break these sessions down too much because downright they're boring. But I've had my last like 3 or 4 sessions. I've gotten stacked early and have grinded back to almost even right there at the end. I mean, last night I was counting. I was in the game for like $9.50, and I had like $200 in front of me.
And we were playing 1-2 last night.
Calm down. The game got bigger. I didn't get stacked that much in a 1-2 game. I went to a different table.
Okay.
And I had PLO in when they got stacked with the nuts there too. Don't leave that out.
Yeah.
But went back to the 1-2 game, the smaller game. Went back to that game. Grinded all the way back up to a $200 loss.
I mean, that's always like a really good. Well, like I say, in the long run, you know, that's just the same as a $700 win when you're starting from scratch. You know, it all comes into play. So that's huge.
I was about to say, you start spreading these rumors, we're gonna have more listeners coming to play with me.
I mean, yeah, they're like, I gotta get some of this action. It's so there's so many lessons to be taken from this one. Like I try to learn it from everything I do. I go on a Friday at a poker room because they're giving out. Was it? I think it was a $300 high hand every 30 minutes. So I go there. I'm like, well, this is just too good an opportunity. Then after 8 o'clock, it's every 2 hours, but it's a $2,000 high hand. The winner, the high hand gets $1,100, and there's a table share of $900 for the rest.
I mean, that sounds awesome.
So I go in. So I'm like, I got to get some of this action or whatever. So I am going to cover one PLO hand because I do think it's just integral to how this session went. I raised to 40 in 4 call. I have king, 7-5 single suited. So pocket kings with 2 connected cards and one suit is not a bad hand. Definitely better than average, so I raise it. The flop is.
Quick question. So in these PLO hands, how big do you raise pre-flop? Because I'll give you my thought on it after you answer.
It depends. Like, I don't feel like I have to raise pot all the time. But it's basically I'm just raising to kind of boost. Like, if I do hit something, one, I can either get more money in the pot, or I can make a bigger bet to make it more expensive for the draws. Those are my reasonings for raising it.
Here's my thought. When I'm playing PLO and I have like a good hand that I want to raise, as a less experienced PLO player, I'm often raising smaller. I'm raising still, but I'm raising smaller to kind of keep the pot smaller. I don't know if this is. I mean, I'm not saying this is the right or wrong play, but this is my thought. I'm still raising, but I'm raising it a little bit smaller, so I'm not. So that pot bet, if I do, have to pot it on the flop or whatever, it's a little bit more manageable. But I also don't want to just limp certain hands. But I'm not doing my standard like $15, $20. Sometimes like a 1-2 game, I'll make it like 10, and a 1-3 game, I'll make it 15.
That seems fine.
Yeah, but I mean that was just my thought on it. I didn't know. Do you like that? Or are you still making it like 20 or 15?
Well, I mean, like pot's going to be kind of limiting it anyways, and the difference between 15 or 20 or 25 is kind of negligible at that point.
When 9 people call, it seems.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, definitely seems like it plays a kind of a big role.
I mean, here's the thing. This is the difference, I would say, is the mentality afterwards. Because, like, no limit hold'em, once you raise, you feel like you're kind of going to have to make a move in that hand. I mean, you probably shouldn't in a multi-way hand. But in PLO, you're kind of building the pot for if you do hit. I mean, if you completely miss, it's just a give up. So I like the kind of the raise small because more often than not, you are going to miss. So,
That's just been my strategy in PLO lately, at least. So
I kind of like it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that strategy. So I have King 7-5, single suited, raised to 40, 4 call. So,
raised to 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Because I like that strategy. I just don't do it.
it's dependent. So the flop is King 9-4. I flop the nuts. So I'm like, well, this is great. Player leads for 65 into me.
I mean, my immediate thought is I'm potting it here. That's my thought. I mean, I feel like you're short stacked enough to where getting it all in here isn't the worst. That's my thought immediately. Because I know you normally buy him for 4, and if you make it 40 3 ways, he bets 65. I'm pretty okay getting it all in, I think, right?
I probably can. I end up raising to 200.
Do you remember how deep you were just before? So I'm not way out to lunch with my analysis of this.
No, I wasn't that deep. Like a pot was probably fine. A pot jam is probably just fine. It might even be the better play. I don't remember what my thought process was when I was doing this. Probably that I'm just so strong here that on there I didn't want to just make a. I wanted him to call so I could jam the turn, I think. But yeah, pot jam seems perfectly fine with what I had. I raised to 200, and then the player jams over the top of me for my stack.
I mean,
obviously it's a call. I have the nuts.
yeah. Well, I mean, okay. I thought there was lessons to be learned here. I mean, calling with the nuts seems fine.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Well, it's just the variance of PLO is the deal.
Oh, okay.
He has bottom. He flopped bottom 2 pair with 9-4.
So he's drawing to running. What's it called? Well, no. Hey, what's he even drawing to?
Almost nothing.
Saying,
But he hits runner flush.
That's what he's drawing to.
Yeah, I mean it is so hard to get it in that good in PLO. That dominating and then still lose. So I was like, God Almighty, because normally you're just a couple percentage points over a draw or something like that.
I guess he had running quads. That's what he could have hit.
Sure, I mean, it most definitely could have. I mean, might as well have actually.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I think that would work.
I mean, it's so the next one. This is a more interesting hold'em hand. And I've been doing this here and there on like kind of hands that I think can be positive EV. I will limp on the button that aren't very strong. 5-8 of diamonds, kind of in that range. I don't think I have to fold it, but it's not strong enough to raise. Do you ever do this?
I mean, dude, I do all sorts of random stuff on any given day. But sure, I mean, I've been known. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
I
so
mean, just because if I've done it, if it's good or bad, does not. I mean, that is not what you want to use to justify doing something. I mean, I do. I mean, I don't know.
Tyler's like, I jam here.
Yeah, but I say put them to the test, why don't you?
Yeah. So the flop is Ace Queen 7 with 2 diamonds. Pretty good flop for me for a 5-8 diamond. The small blind bet leads out for 15. A player calls, and I call.
Seems perfectly fine and standard to me.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to raise here. There's, on here, it seems like if someone's on a shitty ace, they're probably going with it. The turn is a king of diamonds. So, just great for me. The small blind checks. A player bets 30.
I mean, we're definitely just calling, right?
Okay, see, I almost thought for certain you were going to raise here.
Here's the only problem with the raise that I'm thinking is that guy who checks. Because, like, immediately whenever... What was it? So, like, was it Queen 10 that just came in? Open-ended Queen 10? What was... I know a straight just came in, right? Broadway?
Jack 10 comes in.
Was Jack 10 open-ended, right?
No, Jack 10 would have been a gutter. It was Ace Queen 7 flop and then a
Queen.
king on the turn.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Here's the weird part. If you raise... I mean, if you get repopped here, you're so sad.
This was my thought, because I did just call. I thought you were going to want to raise here.
I mean, so often I do, but you said the guy who checked was the one who bet last street, correct?
Correct.
Seems suspicious to me. But I would probably only call here with the most skeptical of eyes.
So I call it. Well, I mean, you're never folding here. Once
Definitely
you
not
turn
folding,
the flush.
yeah, no.
I mean, it's
No, I'm just saying I'm on high alert.
yeah. So I consider a raise here, but I'm like, well, once I raise here after the diamond flush hits, what am I hoping to get a call from?
Specifically, one diamond that someone's holding, like a. I don't
Yeah.
know, you know. So.
It's a so I make the call. The small blind check raises to 160.
This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, and here's another factor I did not mention. All three diamonds are the ace, queen, king. So my flush is actually fairly high here, actually. I mean, because there's only Jack 10 9 are the flushes that are beating me. The small blind check raises to 160. The player calls.
God.
I have a 8 high flush on here, but I'm like, the small blind, like, do they ever have anything other than a flush, and a pretty decent one?
I mean, I think this is going to be, just so nutted.
Yeah, I did too. I ended up folding.
Oh, that's probably, well, I don't know what, I think it's going to end up being, good fold here, but I think in the long run it's also a good fold.
It was a good fold there. The river actually pairs the board, making my
This is a
flush even
complete
shittier.
Now, you might as well just rip the cards and throw them on the ground. Once the board pairs,
the river pairs the board, and the small blind wins with a 9 high flush.
Not what I expected, but kind of what I expected. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
What did the other guy have? Did he even show?
I don't remember what he had. He's kind of he was that guy. You remember the guy last night we were playing who was just constantly yelling at the other table?
Oh, I don't know who it was, but I heard yelling.
Yeah, it was that guy. God knows what he had. It could have been anything.
Oh, man, that makes your fold even better, though.
It's which I was so glad to see, because at first I was like, I didn't realize if she would dead, but I was tilted as hell from both that PLO hand and just a lot of hands not going my way. If I fold the 8 high flush and then see her turn over like 4 high flush, like a 5 or 6 high flush or something, I lose my mind.
Don't worry. I don't think you see that. I think more often than not, you'd see like a random 2 pair that they think is good.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty good fold. I it's never easy to fold a flush. I
think it's super good fold.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I
think it's a good read of the situation. That's what I think it really is. Because in a lot of other situations, I think you're shrug calling there. Mm-hmm. But once we just broke it down. I don't need to break it down again. But yeah, I just think that was a good read of the situation. And sometimes it's really hard to find a fold whenever you're tilted and don't want to fold.
Oh, I was so tilted. So, this is gonna be interesting. We are back to a PLO hand, but it's a pretty good one. Since we talked about getting better at it, we're gonna break this one down for a second.
So we talked about getting better at it. We're gonna tell you how I played this so poorly. Go ahead.
There you go.
I don't even know the goddamn hand. I just assume that's what's about to happen.
I got 4 cards. They're good. So I have pocket aces, 9-2 double suited.
Boy, here we go.
Yeah. So I pot pre-flop. If you're not a pot this, I don't know what you're potting. Pocket aces double suited. 2 players call. Flop is 3, 5, 7, 2 diamonds. I have the suited ace of diamonds. I pop for 65. This is just standard. I've got the best overpair with the nut flush draw. Hoping I don't run into 4-6. I pop 65. There's 1 call. The turn is a blank. I'm like, well, I still got a pot. I still got something to the nuts. He didn't re-raise, which he would on this draw-heavy board with the nuts. So I'm like, I don't think he has the nuts. I'm going to put ultimate pressure here with my 1 pair, and I pop for 195.
I mean, this seems just so treacherous.
I mean, super treacherous.
I mean, I'm not like
ridiculous. Because this is now I have like $60 behind after this bet.
You're basically all in, but
So-
I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is like when you're playing with a mouse trap and like you touch the little thing and like it doesn't snap and you just keep trying it over and over again. Guess
Yeah.
what? I don't know, but guess what I think's about to happen?
Well, he calls. So that mouse trap right there. And then he calls. The river's a 5, making this 3-5-5-7 something. So I'm like, well, I show him my stacks. I mean, at this point, this is where I'm at. I'm not folding
I mean,
now.
no, 100%. I mean, now
Yeah.
we're just. I mean,
This now I've got 2 pair.
Oh God, we've upgraded. Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where this is where we're at. I mean, if he goes all in, we're calling. If he checks, we're checking. I mean, it's just whatever.
He checks, I check. I show down at pocket aces for my 2 pair with my other 2 cards, and he says I'm good. He missed everything.
Hallelujah. Which again kind of proves my point about why I like betting that set, because I still think people will call gigantic bets with draws like that. And then not bet
the set
anything.
PLO?
No. The one I broke down earlier when I went all in. Whenever you said you like a call there,
Yeah.
is kind of the exact same situation, right?
Well, I mean, there's so many more draws in PLO. I mean, like
True, but I mean, kinda. I mean,
That is-
anything to prove my point. Continue.
like seems weird to be
No,
like,
I'm
well,
unplugging your mic.
because he has a crap load of draws in PLO. But okay, sure.
Kinda. I mean, it's a stretch, but follow along with me if you can.
It's a 100%. So I've got one more no limit hand.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's a. This is well, no, I was in the big blind. I have 8-10 off. It limps to me. I check it. I take the passive route in this shitty hand. I flop 7-9-3. I bet $10, which is about pot in this limped hand. You're wondering how in the world I can get here, like why I'm talking about this hand. There's a $10 pot pre-flop, but I pot it, and there's a call.
How many people are in this hand?
Once I potted, I think just one.
Oh, this is going to be a triple barrel load the rifle. We're blasting all the way to the river kind of thing. Make it or not. That's going to be this. If you're heads up like this is going to be one you got to take to the streets. Oh, God, there goes my pen. But
Me and you are on the same. Well, especially like with the turn. The turn is an ace. So now I bet 25 because I'm like, well, now at least it's going to make, because I'm like, once I bet this 25, I'm 100% betting almost every river that shows up.
Okay, but if he calls, don't tell me how much you bet, because I at least want to think what I would bet on this river, because I know a lot of people make the mistake of betting too small if you miss. Well, let's see what happens. Do you hit it on the river?
Turn is ace, they bet. So
Wait, he bets? What?
I mean, like turn is ace, I bet they call.
Okay, I was about to say, wait, I might have a different
Okay.
plan now.
So on the river's a 5.
That ain't it.
Yeah, that ain't. I mean, now I'm 10 high. So what are you betting here?
Okay, so it was 10, 25. I might bet 100 here.
I bet 50. I get re-raised to 100.
Whatever, I fold.
Yeah. But here is the cool thing about this hand, because there's a reason I did pick this hand, is she had 6-8 and river to straight. Like the triple barrel works if it's just not this random 5.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure.
It's that was kind of my thought. Is like it kind of shows that just because a bluff doesn't work.
Wait, what did she have? She had 6-5, and what did you have?
She had 6-8. So she.
But what did you have?
I had 8-10.
Yeah, so you're going to win either way if she didn't hit that 5.
That's true. That's a solid point.
I was like, you were bluffing with the best hand until you got sucked out on. You believe that?
But like, yeah, that's true. It's but yeah, if this bluff, if she doesn't randomly hit this 5, this triple barrel obviously works.
Yeah.
Shit, obviously, like you say, doesn't even need to.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
so
But
well.
I mean, I do agree with how everything was played. I like a bigger bet on the river, given that she hit the straight. I like how you played it.
Yeah. It's so that's all I have. I got wrecked in this session. I lost about $1,000. So this is how dipshit of I am. So it is, dipshit of me and dipshit of just the entire population. So me and you are constantly struggling with this PLO crap of everybody wanting to play, right?
Sure.
It's they want to play 2 hands. 1 hand's not enough. Me and you are only saying no. We're the assholes at the table. There's a high hand, and it doesn't matter if it's worth $2,000. Doesn't matter if it's PLO or Hold'em. This is one time I'm like, why don't we add an extra hand to PLO? It's 1 hand. Nobody wants to. $2,000 high hand. There's only 5 tables in the room. There's like maybe 6. I'm like, so I end up going to the round of each table. Because I'm like, well, the odds are.
Well, like just naturally in PLO, you're going to make better hands, right? I mean, and if you're trying to hit a high.
If you have, basically 16 hands for your 1 and hold them. I mean.
But that's what I'm saying. So it makes, in this situation, it makes more sense, yes.
Yeah. So I go to the PLO table.
And that's how dipshit he is.
Yeah, and I just get wrecked. I don't get a high hand. I just get my ass tore out. So that was...
It's like the one thing I learned playing PLO with the Hold'em players, way different than playing PLO with the PLO players.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
But yeah, that's...
That sucks.
Yeah. So, lost 1,000 on that session, and then I lost... on the other one, was it the... No. The other one I ended up making 430. So, it is what it is. I mean...
Definitely. I mean, my weird thing is my last few sessions have all been getting stacked early and grinding back to almost exactly a $200 loss.
I mean, that's good that you're able to do that, but super annoying that you have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, super annoying that like that set over set I had gotten stacked. I was down to like $100 and grinded all the way back up just to get stacked right whenever I was even.
That's pretty hurtful. That's pretty goddamn hurtful.
But then, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, right? It's the poker, whatever, it's the long overtime, something like that.
Game.
Yada, no, something, read a book, some quote here, insert here. That's the Texas Poker Podcast. Talk to you later.
Oh.
That was the Texas Poker Podcast. Go ahead and rack up, add time, and we'll see you next week.